again. There are numerous tools at your disposal with new viable contenders surfacing almost daily. So some tools are specific for tasks. Some are a Swiss Army knife of features and users. So a little unicorn of a tool. So UI will typically fall into design, collaboration, prototyping, and handoff. So handoff, that's where, like we were discussing, that's where we just give it to the developer and then they build in UI because you're the professional that's done all of the work below it, and your client has now approved all of these stages, and now we can blast through building. It's important to be concerned with these categories of tools and the actual products, as they could be here today and gone later. So thingy one, point one, and then all of a sudden, like half a day later, it's like, that's old. I've seen that, done that, and they've already been 200 and something iterations. The UI tool popularity in 2020. So these are talking about where things are at, as some of you guys have asked, which is the best one to use. So I think I mentioned Sketch and Figma are the #1 in a lot of agencies because they've been around the longest. But XD is here and XD is growing. It's not to say you can't build in these, but in this class, I do ask for you to create in XD versus Photoshop, Illustrator, then have to prototype elsewhere. As UI designers, we're in a constant state of adopting new and unfamiliar tools to work within these categories. Back in the old days, Photoshop is the only way to design UI. I used to design websites in Photoshop all the time. So there's Sketch, so there it is. It's 3 for 30 days, but you have to pay. I'm not going to go through all the bells and whistles. I believe we went through this last semester as well. Like I said, I'm a big fan of Adobe XD. There are other features that are really great in Sketch, like in Figma, sorry, for like collaborating. You can actually have like timestamps for when someone else has opened up a file. So when you're working with the team, it'll actually show that Jeffrey opened the file at 8 p.m. last night and changed something in the header. So that's really, really great for teamwork. So that's a big, big highlight. I believe Sketch does that same thing too. And Envision is where you would prototype anything that you build in Sketch will get done here. And like I said, I think we've seen Envision. And there's Figma. And then again, there's Envision. And then there's lots and tons of others, but to be honest, I wouldn't bother even touching any of those. So while most UI tools work similarly, it's really up to you to choose what application to work with. It's most important are the assets you create. Upon opening a UI app, most products start with a start screen offering you options to create a new document from a template or start with your own custom size. You guys know that because now I feel like you guys are all vets, right? This is Sketch. I'm just going to go into XD. So artboards can be used to display multiple screen sizes for a responsive web product as well. You folks have seen that. You can have your desktop, then you've got your iPad size, and then you've got your iPhone size. Pretty much all UI tools give you lots of control and information when moving, resizing, and aligning elements. This brings up the details-driven part of UI design to use. So your nice little key lines that come up, use those. Your grids, use those. That's what takes a mediocre design into a very professional design. And when you'd be surprised, someone that has like a veteran's eyes, perhaps like myself, when you see things aligned, you're like, okay, that person's got a knack for design. So that is definitely key. Same thing in print design. So prototyping can be handled in most UI tools and is usually accessed somewhere in the UI. You can then get a preview of the prototype and also share it with others. You guys know how to do that now. All UI tools allow you to export each screen as an image to import into a prototyping tool. So for instance, XD, we can prototype straight in XD, but we can also export those as JPEGs, and we could potentially open in Envision if we wanted to. The key is to be aware of and even try other popular ride tools, as depending on where you work or who you work with, you may be dealing with assets created in one of these applications. So again, like I mentioned before, you can become a seasoned vet. I don't expect, nor will I think your employers expect you to know every single one of those. Say all 3 leaders in that and be able to jump in and you're like, okay, they've got it, they know what to do. Like I said, they all really overlap. So if you're using one, you'll probably be able to find your way fairly quickly in another one. You'll probably just like maybe your hotkeys will be different or something might be in a slightly different spot. But they all technically work pretty close to the same.